Today we're going to be looking at the year selection feature in the Gymnasium project and looking at basically where all it's mentioned and what it does. So here we go.
Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the year selection feature. So the first thing I'm going to do is run it so that you can see what exactly I'm talking about. But we have looked at it before. So first if I run this and then open it, then over here, this is the year selection one. So if I say, for example, all the schools within 7 kilometers of where I am, and then get it. So right now it's for 2025 since the default is 2025 because that's the current year. Then we have data from 2020 to 2025. So if I decide I want data from 2021, so then where I am right now, in 2021, all the all the schools within 7 kilometers of me and all the data for them. So over here, so if we look at basically the front for now, the front end. So here we have the year. So that's basically the label. So then this is year in Swedish. And then we have select, so you can select basically whichever year you want, so 2024 for example, or whatever. Then here we have all the options. So the option, so this is selected basically means default. So if I refresh this, so you see the default is 2025. So then here we have value is 2025. Then the label, this part that's showing 2025 is this bit, and the same for the rest of them. So that's basically the front end bit. Then here, if we go over here, or actually let's go here first. So then if I search here, so we can look up where exactly it's mentioned. So first we have year over here for IN data. So this is basically this is for this courses, another function we'll be looking at later. So we're using this to get gymnasium details, for example. Then here we have the year when we're trying to get the nearest gymnasium. So when we're looking at the gymnasium nearest to me, so when I enter 7 or whatever the radius is. So when I'm trying to get the gymnasiums near me, then we're also taking the year into consideration, which year we're talking about, along with the rest of the data. Then we have gymnasium within the radius, so again, so here we have content and then the content of year, so the value of year, so if it's 2021 or 2025 or whatever it is. Then over here we're also using year when we're doing get paginated data for school, so when we're doing the pagination bit, which we'll also go through later. And then over here, again, get gymnasium within radius, and then the score again. So that's basically where we're using it here. And now, again, if I look for year. So then here we have the year, so get element by ID. So this is basically in the function get gymnasium within radius. And that's where we're, as we went through last time, defining the radius and how we're going to get the radius. So here we also need to get the data for the schools when we're getting the radius, and then all the schools that we're getting within the radius. So year is part of that data. So then we have year, and then we're getting the value. So again, 2021, 2024, 2025. Because these ones over here, they're just the labels. They're just the options kind of, but this is the value that we're talking about. So if I say 2025, but I change this over here to 2024, then this one and this one will give the same result. And then we have, if we look over here, so then in the programs, so the selected programs, and you also get the year when you're looking at it. And this is for the formatting, but the card, so how you're going to, in the card you get the year that we're talking about. And then back to year. Then if we look at this file, then we have year again. So here, this is for getting data for schools. And that's for also along with the rest of the data, we're also getting the year. Then if the year is not none, so this is again for get data for schools. So then what happens if the year is not none? So it's basically like if we give a value for the year, like whichever year we're putting in. So then we're getting the data for that specific year. So what was the merit for that year and so on, because it differs year to year. So, and then the get page and data for schools. So this year is basically over here to like get the data, and that's how it works. So like we have how it looks like in the front, and then like in the back end how it's being used. It's basically being used for like everything whenever it involves getting any kind of data for the school, because like you need to. So if I say like 9 kilometers, so then for 2025, so because all the data changes every year. So that's why you can select whichever year you want, and we only have data up to 2020 to 2025. So then like the preliminary data and then the final data and so on. So that's basically why we're using the year.